I come from such a background of darkness. I remember the day I cut my arm open and asked the enemy to take my body to use for his will. So I had already been through that place in life where this stuff scares me. And then coming back into Christianity in my early 30s and starting to hit this stuff again when I started to see them in my room. I would see them in my house. I know this sounds crazy. They would unscrew my light bulb. So when I would wake up panicking with there's a demon in my room and I'd switch my light on, it wouldn't turn on. And eventually I got to where I was so frustrated with being scared. I got mad. I was like, you gonna wake me up again? And I'd just start preaching the end times. And I got to screw my light back in. It seemed to stop. I was no longer scared. The first time I ever cast a demon out of somebody, I had done a small workbook about it. I had finished the workbook that week, and this dude was suicidal, and he called me. He was like, man, I'm gonna kill myself. I've been driving around for 2 hours trying to pick which bridge I drive off of. I was like, well, you could do that, or maybe just not, and come see me when it's just me and this guy. He's like, hey man, I just don't feel right. All of a sudden, I didn't even have language for this, but somehow I just knew this dude's got a demon. And it's I did the workbook. I'm ready to go. I don't know what I even said. Spirit, unclean spirit, something like that. And he starts to kind of what I would now say is manifesting. His eyes are closed in prayer, and all of a sudden I see a lot of twitching and shaking. And here's the odd part. His shoulders were always forward. He kind of had a hunchback. He was super skinny, and it's almost like his chest was caved in. And all of a sudden, the cold chills you get when the worship song you like is being played, that thing hit every hair on my body, stood up for a split second, simultaneous with this guy going and all of a sudden his chest is out and his shoulders are back. And he just exhales and he says, dude, I feel like me.
Welcome to another episode of Everyday Exorcist. This is Kat, and I'm here with my good friend Grant. And Grant has brought one of his friends on the show today for our first episode with a guest. Grant, do you want to introduce Ben to us here?
I would love to. I have two friends. Ben is one of the two, and he is a friend that we met in a coffee shop in East Nashville. Ben, do you remember the first time we met?
I do.
Oh, yes. It's a great story. Do you remember what happened?
When we met?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were with Mark and Josh.
Yeah.
And that's when we met.
That's when we met.
It was great.
Isn't that a great story, guys?
Wow. What a wonderful way to kick this podcast off. Riveting.
Yeah. Ben is a world-renowned artist and guitar, I would say aficionado. Would you say aficionado, Ben?
I probably
Benjamin?
wouldn't.
No. Benjamin goes by Benjamin now, and I have to remember that.
Oh, that's right.
There's a cool prophetic story.
Oh, I love it. So Benjamin and I met a long time ago, and we have done many deliverances together and on one another. And it's been a really fun journey. And so we were hanging out, 2 weeks ago and talking about stuff. And I was like, oh, you should come on. Because we're starting a new thing where we're going to bring some friends on and talk to the friends about this topic. Now, Benjamin, just to give you a preface, this whole podcast is to help people actually do this stuff, to move into praying for people and seeing them healed, praying for people and seeing them free and all of that. So it's more about that. And so sometimes we'll tell stories, we'll dissect it. And you and I have some really fun stories. So I thought it'd be really fun to jump in there and start telling stories. But Benjamin he runs a hunting guide service that focuses on ministering to men. You travel all over the world playing music for all kinds of different people in several different industries. And you're a good looking guy in your poncho shirt, with which I am also wearing.
I can't see your
twinning poncho shirts.
Well, I found it. I've been seeing a lot of advertisements on my social feeds about poncho, and in walks Benjamin one day. and he's wearing a poncho shirt. And so then I get to feel it and touch it. And I'm like,
That's not
I knew I wanted
confirmation
this
from the Lord, then I don't know what is. That's confirmation right there.
And Benjamin and I have gone on several different style revolutions personally, I think.
Okay.
You know, in our personal styles of how we dress, how we look. We're constantly reinventing our looks. Would you say that's true?
I would say like the biggest change of mine is like all I really have is facial hair, or
No.
yeah, I can't do like a different hairstyle.
I'm talking about fashion.
Well, yeah, pre-COVID.
It was wild. We both
It
were
was
rocking
wild.
we were both rocking some really interesting fashion choices.
Okay.
Look, we were young. We're in our mid-30s.
That's
In
fine.
East Nashville.
I love that.
Really
I
hip.
love it. I'm so excited, honestly, Benjamin, to have you on here, because when Grant said he was going to bring you on and you guys were just going to tell stories, I actually think that's one of the most important parts of equipping people, is to hear stories. I think there's something where you can hear a concept of how to do these like things in ministry, and you can hear somebody talk about it theoretically, but when you hear the story, it like sinks deeper in. I mean, even Jesus spoke in parables and metaphor and all of this, and told stories to teach things to people. And so I think this is going to be one of our greatest episodes. I have high hopes for
Well,
hearing
We have had
stories and
some
it being
really
equipping.
good episodes.
Yeah, I say that every time we record. I always go to my husband and I say, that was our best episode. So excited. So this is just, we're going up the bar with just some stories with Benjamin. It's going to be great.
It's going to be awesome.
Where do you want to start?
Well, I think it would be a great place to start is to say, Benjamin, are you in professional full-time ministry?
No.
No, you're just a normal guy. I mean, you're abnormal, but you're just you're not a traveling prophet, right?
It's not my career.
No. He is traveling and he does prophesy, but because the whole point of this is that everyone gets to do this, and that's kind of how you and I learned together. So one of the things I wanted to do, Benjamin, because we've been on a lot of different prayer calls and appointments with a lot of really fun stories, and I'm just, when I say that, what stories come to your mind?
Two initially.
All right, let's go. I can't wait.
I mean, it was a guy you knew, a guy I did not know.
Yep.
And
We'll change the names to protect the innocent.
I don't even remember his name, so it doesn't even matter.
Perfect.
Like, it was a lot of listening. He's talking, and I'm listening to things that he's saying. And it feels like in that time for me, a lot of questions I would ask, I didn't need to hear the answer to. I was just asking so that he could be occupied speaking while I'm listening to the Lord.
All right, so stop there. So tell people that may not know what you're talking about, what does that look like for you? How do you hear the Lord?
Man, that's like a whole episode in itself. I think
We got time.
I think hearing the Lord for me, I spent a couple of years reading every book that was like I could get my hands on, listening to every speaker, going to all the conferences, trying to be prophetic, to only have the realization that I was trying to hear the Lord how everybody else hears the Lord, and that's probably not how he's speaking to me. When I finally recognized, like, this is the Lord speaking to me, it was really like, which thoughts of mine that I need to pay attention to. It wasn't coming in some crazy ethereal way. It was just the same way that my voice sounds when I tell myself, hey, go shut the door. But I could start to tell this is the Lord speaking to me. So it was paying attention to my thoughts. And a lot of it was like, which ones do I listen to? And that's kind of, when I'm hearing from the Lord, it's not like he's calling or texting. It's similar to the way that other places in my imagination are. I would just hone in on like, this is the Lord speaking.
That's great. And so before you figured that out, how did you think it was going to come?
Oh, bro, like it was going to be a distinct voice. It was going to be like clear as day. Finally, I've heard from the Lord. It was a lot of having a thought and like, well, that's not from the Lord. Which one's from the Lord? This one must be from the Lord. And asking someone, hey, is your name? I remember we were at a restaurant and I thought I had this word of knowledge, and it was like a year or two into like trying, and this waitress comes up and I'm like, hey, like, do you have a daughter named Anna? And she was just like, no, do you have a daughter? And I was just like, no, I don't actually. And she's
great.
like, oh, that's weird.
Like,
why
why
did
are
you
you
ask me that? Yeah. And it's like, well, that wasn't from him.
That's
But,
great.
yeah, eventually, like, I remember all of the things that I would be in and out of. And for me, initially, it was like learning to realize certain daydreams I would be having. Like when I'm sitting here and I'm just like daydreaming, it's like, oh no, that's the Lord speaking. Like I'm actually seeing something he's trying to show me. But that's not a way that I'd read about in the prophecy book. So I dismissed it. It's like, I got to stop daydreaming. I got to hear from the Lord.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, he gave us our imaginations. Like, why wouldn't he use that as a way that he could talk to us, in our daydreaming?
I didn't get to that book that said that. So
For everyone listening, you actually do know how to hear from the Lord. I can verify. We used to text each other, hey, I'm getting ready to go pray for this person. Sometimes you'd be across the world. And we'd ask each other to like get a word of knowledge, like ask the Lord what to like do. And then we're in the prayer session. We kind of hold up this text message from each other of like, look what the Lord just did after they just told us this stuff. And I think I've done that with you multiple times in large crowds and small crowds. And so if people are wondering, does he really, I can verify for the most part, I think you do. We get it wrong every now and again, but we're learning how to hear his voice.
So you were telling this story about one of the crazier deliverances that you did with Grant, and you were on the phone. Is that what you said? You were on the phone with this person?
no, but look at Kat bringing us back around.
I'm trying
Bring us
to.
back.
I'm the
Bring us
host.
back.
I'm the host.
That was good. Don't think that I didn't see that. I
Benjamin
like
and
leadership.
I we'll just talk. We'll just talk forever.
I like leadership.
Okay. So you were
No,
telling-
like
it was
I didn't.
in person, and you were
Yeah, we were
asking
in
questions.
person. I didn't need this dude to say anything, but what I needed him to do was like just occupy himself while I'm trying to listen to the Lord. So I'd like, oh man, where are you from? And like, all right, Lord, what are you trying to show me about this guy? And he'd get done talking and, oh, so what was it like growing up there? And I don't need to necessarily have his answers to these questions. What I really need is what I didn't necessarily have, which was time in this guy's presence to just, talk to the Lord. But him wanting this dude to pray for him and becoming vulnerable, he probably just didn't want to sit there and be quiet while I stare off into space. So I would realize that I would ask questions that I didn't necessarily need to know the answer to. And sometimes the Lord would just like, hey, that thing you just said, ask him more about that. And I would tell me more about that. You're starting to hone in on things. And then when I feel like I'm starting to see, and this isn't like prophetically, just very naturally, I see that there is a pattern of this guy's decision making or things that he's done where clearly this is like a no-no in scripture, and you did it for a long time, and now you're dealing with this complication. It could be like a dysregulated emotional nature, or there's actually a physical problem happening where it's not that big of a leap to see you did this, you're experiencing this consequence. Maybe they're related.
Yeah.
So there's some of that. And then also it's the more you do it, I started to know the things to like listen for. And I could hear him say something a certain way. And like, I don't know what it is yet, but like I felt in my emotions a way when you said that word. Mm-hmm. So what is it about that? And it was really like learning to ask better clarifying questions.
To try and ascertain what the root of this thing is that needs to go, right? Or be healed or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, eventually, but also trying to, man, what is your spiritual story that you may not even have the awareness of to tell me what I need to know?
It's like you're putting together this puzzle behind the scenes that.
Well, I'm letting the Lord do it.
Yeah. You're partnering with the Lord, letting him puzzle it together with
Like
you.
he's showing me questions to ask. I'm hearing this guy's answers. The Lord's like pointing me in directions. So there was a lot of that. I can't even remember what this guy's problems were.
I don't even know what story this
Do you
is. I have
remember?
no concept.
Yeah.
I don't know which one he's talking about.
Oh, okay.
Well, I had been doing like a lot of deliverance stuff multiple times a week. It's just, I couldn't go to the grocery store without like running into somebody and like, so I'd seen a lot of crazy things, and this guy was big. I'm a big guy, and he was a big guy. And
Oh, I think I know which one this is.
yeah, I don't remember why, but there was this, he had a tattoo on his leg I didn't like. Listening to his origin story, there was a lot of stuff with his dad and his granddad, and I think he was in the military, and I'm just like, I keep looking at this tattoo, and eventually I asked him, like, man, what's this tattoo about? And then he tells me the story of like, oh, he got the tattoo in honor of his grandfather who had died. And it was just like,
Now you actually have tattoos on. And
I have them on.
You have them on.
Can you
You're
take
wearing
them off?
them.
I guess you can't take. They're real. They're permanent.
They don't wash off.
And we've talked about tattoos on the podcast.
Yeah.
Before.
Listener
Did
question.
you just say tattoos?
I love
Tattoos.
saying tattoos.
He does it in a weird way. It's very awkward. I hate it.
It makes it fun for me because I don't have it. I don't have a tattoo. But yeah, so you notice this.
But it was
tattoo.
like I've been around so many people with tattoos and it's not an issue, but with this guy it was like something about this doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was like to honor my grandfather's death.
Mm-hmm.
Like that part in Leviticus which is like don't cut or tattoo your body or make any other markings to honor the dead.
Yeah.
Just kind of like hit me of like, man, have you ever thought about what this means in scripture? And it's like kind of odd that you did this to honor. I remember that was a thing that started the process where the dude seemed like skeptical, but like, I'm here for it. I'm now remembering this dude would have like crazy blindness or like these crazy blindness spells where he couldn't see right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That was his medical condition. I just remembered.
Wow.
And that's kind of where I started. And that was just the first of several things that happened. And what is tough for most of this is you have to know more about, like when you really get into it, you have to be more biblically aware than they are because they want to fight you on everything you're saying. So you have to actually pastor them through what the word says and create a construct for them where this could be important. Mm-hmm. So it's not like hitting them with legalism, but it is like, but you do understand that maybe this is one of the things God meant when he said not to do this because maybe something could happen. And a lot of times it's like you're fighting through their defenses where they're defending their own actions, which you're getting them to the place where they say, okay, then I'll surrender. And that's the hard part.
So even though he was coming for prayer for the blindness, he didn't necessarily think there was some sort of demonic attachment that could be affecting that.
Maybe.
He wasn't thinking that. So he still came willingly, though. He was like ready to get prayer.
Yeah, but it's like church. You ask anybody how they're doing at church, it's like, oh brother, I'm doing great. Whereas you go to the emergency room and it's like leaking blood from the arm. Like, how are you doing? Oh, I'm here because my arm is hurting. Mm-hmm. Same guy comes into church, like blood dripping. Oh, I'm fine, brother. Mm. Like, there's a bit of that that's just like, we have this relationship to people praying or well, if the Lord wants this to happen, you'll really see the truth. But it's like, but you got to wrestle it out of me. I think there's like a bit of that where he was open, but not surrendered.
Yeah. Well, because so, they'll come in for something like if blindness, temporary blindness or whatever. And you start talking about their tattoo they got when they were 13 or 18 or whatever. And they're just like, what does this have to do with anything? Like, and so you really do have to lead them on this journey through, like, stay with me here. And again, we've done this so many times. We're not judgmental about it. We're not trying to beat them up about it. It's just like,
yeah, Jesus wants them healed and free. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help.
So we get in it with this guy and we start to get to some stuff. And then we get into like some things that he had done while he was a soldier living in Europe. And we're going after, I mean, that was such a weird one. I don't know who listens to this podcast. I'm kind of crazy, but I'm not like wrong a lot. I start going after like Greek mythology god names.
Dude, the whole time. So you had this whole listing of in your notes because we would pray beforehand and get words of knowledge. You had all of these Greek mythology names in your notes.
Interesting.
From my listening time,
right,
where he's talking, he's answering my questions, and the Lord is telling me stuff to ask about, and I'm like, I still probably have the notes in my phone.
I remember one time being like, "What?" Because we always text during it too, and it's like, "What is happening?" And then he like show me your notes, and I was like, okay.
Like Zeus and Athena and things like that. Like, is that what it was?
I remember
less obvious one.
Bacchus. Less obvious, obscure
Bacchus.
Greek.
Yeah,
obscure
for sure.
Greek mythology.
Bacchus was one. Yeah. But did you think about it? Like those people back then who lived in a very like biblical worldview. So like this was power to them. This was real. Yeah. Maybe they encountered these demons and like, oh, you're a demigod now. We'll worship you. So some of the stuff he was talking about, it's just like in my heart, I'm like, God, what are you trying to, okay, Bacchus. Like, but that thing came out of him violently.
Wow.
So we get to all of this, and I remember there was maybe 7 or 8 different moments where before we started praying, I already had like the list of this is the stuff that God wants to do today. So it's like systematically going after these things and also bringing him to the point of understanding what I understand. Not just like, so can I pray for this now? It's like, well, here's what we're thinking next. Here's why. And then on his part, it's a lot of like, finally, for the first time, actually seeing a perspective where, no, I did something wrong. And where at the time I wasn't trying to live in open rebellion to God. Now I do understand that this action I took was in fact contrary to what God said to do. For that, I'm responsible. So his repentance, his turning from that was even like the confession of this was in fact wrong. Wow. Though at the time I wasn't trying to be defiant. Yeah. And bringing him to the place of understanding, like where we're on the same page. Otherwise, man, go home. In fact, the guy who came in after this guy, it was 4 hours of like, this dude didn't want to hear anything. It's just like, you've wasted 4 hours of our time.
Wow.
Oh man. So that particular day we'd stacked 2.
Never stacked 2.
No, gosh, never. Sarah and the kids were out of town. Yeah, what are you doing? You're bacheloring it up, and the kids and the wife are, oh, you stack deliverances up in your house from other churches. It's
right.
Yeah, those 2. Yeah.
So this dude, I think there was 8 or 9 different moments of like going after specific things with like profound, like they're leaving.
What does that mean? Like barfing or like convulsing?
Yeah.
Was it mostly Like, sorry, I'm being
a little bit of all
weird,
of it.
Like
like
I'm curious.
Coughing, gagging,
okay.
vomiting.
So it's coming out very clearly because of these manifestations. Like, do you find it often has something to do with like coughing and gagging and throw up? Like, is it always that, or is there some other type of manifestation where for sure it's gone?
Not always, often.
Not always.
Like, I'm hesitant to read too much into people who talk about deliverance where they have a reaction that was different than Jesus did. Where I have people that I trust a lot and they talk about deliverance where they don't experience any of this stuff ever.
Like it's a peaceful.
And I just like, man, I hope so. That hasn't been my experience. I'm not going to say you're wrong.
Yeah.
It hasn't been my experience. When Jesus seemed to do it, there seemed to be like some noticeable shift in power where the strong man has driven the guy who wasn't as strong out.
There's a lot of screaming and sounds like
shrieking and
shrieking and falling
and
down.
the people will come to they're sort of still there, and so they're just like, what is going on? Like oftentimes you're still engaging, and so that's when you're really like, oh, something. Wow. We're over the target, and something is going on there. So
wow. So the peaceful. Like I've been in prayer sessions where people are like sensing things in their body and there's never like a strong reaction. And I'm like, I'm not 100% sure if we got it. I feel like maybe we need to circle the wagons on this one because I'm not sure. But that's always been one of my questions is like, is it always violent and aggressive? I
don't know that I want to speak to that.
Yeah.
I think what I will say is sometimes what they don't need is like a violent deliverance session. Maybe what they need is peace in their body.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
So if I go after I'm here for a violent deliverance, then maybe I'm like practicing witchcraft and not listening to the Lord.
Yeah. I think so much of this is like, these are the normal things that we encounter, but there's so many other ways.
There's variables.
We've seen all kinds of different ways.
I've seen weirder.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to talk about it?
Not right now.
This is what this is about.
Are you done with this story? Because I want to finish this
story.
I'm not. Okay, let's keep
not.
going on this story.
So I was doing this all the time. I come from such a background of darkness, meaning like I remember the day I like cut my arm open and asked the enemy to take my body to use for his will. Like,
so intense, man.
I know.
You're just so intense.
I could see in the dark, like drugs. And so I had already been through that place in life where this stuff scares me. And then coming back into Christianity in my early 30s and starting to like hit this stuff again when I started to see them in my room. I would see them in my house. I know this sounds crazy. They would unscrew my light bulb. So when I would wake up panicking with like there's a demon in my room and I'd switch my light on, it wouldn't turn on. And eventually I got to where I'm reading the story about, I think it was Smith Wigglesworth. They would move his bed And finally he made him move it back. And I did get to this place of just like, I was so frustrated with being scared. I got mad. I was like, you're going to wake me up again? And I'd just start like preaching the end times. And I got to like screw my light back in. It seemed to stop. I was no longer scared. The way that I remember the story, we were done with this dude. And then Grant was like, hey, I actually feel like the Lord is saying you have a problem with like anger.
Well, yeah. And so have we told this story on the podcast before?
Is this where you sing in tongues in his ear?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was annoying me.
This is where his hand,
I was so mad.
His hand disappeared. Like he
hid his hand.
Well, it was like I was so tired. We were so tired. This was, I mean, my goodness, man, this was like 2 hours at least. 4. Yeah. So tired. And I'm praying my eyes open, just like my eyes just rest on his hand. And I see his hand just like, it's like his hand notices me and then he like hides his hand. And that was really weird. I just remember thinking like, what a weird thing. And then I was like, oh, is this something, Lord? And I heard rage. And then I'm like, oh, can we just wait on that? Like I literally went through this whole thing of like, I don't want to get back into this.
Like I was done. It was like, dude, we just got like 8 or 9 things.
So many demons out.
Like he can see again. Like it's great. And then Grant's like, we should go for like the extra point.
I wrestled with the Lord on that one.
So Grant starts asking him some clarifying questions. This dude starts telling his stories and I get engaged because I do have a sensitivity to domestic violence. It's like, well, explain that. When you say that, do you mean this? Have your children ever experienced this? What does being mad at your wife look like? I think he told a story of like his kid shutting the door wrong on his car or something. And he flew out the handle and like yelling and screaming at like a 4-year-old. And it's like, okay, like I'm in on this one. So we start getting in on it. And I just look over at Grant and Grant's like, peace over your body, peace over your body. And he's like singing in tongues I'm like, Grant, knock it off. And this dude's raging at me.
He's literally like, snarling. Like
he's snarling like a dog. He's trying to like overpower my arms. And it was just like, no, dude, I'm stronger than you. And he starts like biting at my nose. Grant's like singing in tongues, like peace of the Lord over you. And I'm like, I can't say this.
I think you can say it.
I can't say this.
Maybe we'll bleep it.
I can bleep, or you can bleep yourself. I don't think I can bleep.
Well, it just like hit me of like,
keep it PG.
Rage is his problem.
We'll keep
and
it
Rage
PG
is trying to like, outdo me. So I was just like, Rage, you're
he said a choice word.
I did choose a word.
We won't say it here.
No, well, but like a sissy.
It's like a slang for sissy.
Okay.
Yeah, Rage, you're a little sissy. But I'm like screaming it at him, and this dude finally, like his face turns like blood red, and like all of a sudden he's like, he starts screaming, and then it turns into vomit.
Oh my god!
And that thing came out.
It came out. It came out violently. Well, and so here's my side of the story.
My side's funnier.
So it is funnier.
I like hearing your side because I've heard Grant's side, but tell your side again, Grant.
And so he's doing that, and then the Lord tells me to get really close. And I'm like, I don't want to get really close. He's like going crazy right now. And he's a big boy. And he just confessed all this violent stuff. And so he's like, get really close. And I like lean in and he's like, and I want you to be really sweet. And I want you to pray sweetly. And so then I'm like, he's like closer, closer. And he's like singing tongues in his ear. And so I'm just like singing in tongues in his ear. And I just felt like such a moron. And well, I don't know if you know this. So 6 months later, we're getting dinner with him. And we're talking about this whole crazy thing. We're laughing about it, all of that. And he was like, yeah, and you just kept singing that Jesus loves me song in my ear. And it was the only thing. He's like, I was feeling myself slip out of like my own sanity. He said, I felt weird, like I was disappearing. And I could hear you singing. And it was the only thing tethering me to reality. And you were just singing, Jesus loves me, this I know. I wasn't. I was just singing the tongues.
I remember.
And I was like, what? And so then it like all connected the dots. Did you know that part?
I didn't. It still doesn't change. Mine's funnier where I'm just like, Grant, knock it off. Like,
oh yeah.
That's such a great story. I love how you guys partnered in that. Like,
well, here's the annoying part. It always happens like that.
Yeah. Every time.
With you two specifically?
Yeah.
Ben comes hard And he's the heavy, and then I'm just like,
Good
I'm
cop,
the
bad
guy
cop.
that makes them cry, and
It's like, Grant, chill. We're doing work here.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know the dude, but I remember I saw him like a month after that, maybe 2 months after that. And I will say this, he came up to me and was like, hey man, like I just went on a trip with my wife to the beach and we had sex and I only thought about her the whole time.
Wow.
It was the first time.
And it was the first time in their marriage.
That's amazing.
And he was like, that they had gone on a vacation. And I remember like just like sitting with that of like, man, that's kind of why this is important.
Mm-hmm. It's real people with real issues. That's why everybody needs to be trained in it, and it needs to be a more common thing in the body. I think it's sad how it's just gotten less and less common and been kind of shoved in the side of this like weird part of the church where it's just not as normal. But this is literally the biblical mandate of anybody that follows Jesus is to do these kinds of things. And it can look like 4 hours, or it can look like you said you were doing it in the grocery store. Didn't you say that?
It would still take hours.
It's still at the grocery store.
Yeah, in a parking lot.
Oh my gosh.
It's not quick. I also have some thoughts on that as a layperson.
Okay.
I remember like the thought of like, man, it's just so much. How am I supposed to learn all these things? Who do I have in my life to teach me? Which pastor is right? Which method is the right one? Well, this book says something different than that one. And I think the trick is like, well, if you're going to do it, you'll do it. And if you're going to do it, then like you don't really have to worry about any of that because the Lord will teach you what he wants you to know when he wants you to know it. And if you're not actually going to do anything, then you'll probably stay on the sidelines and keep fantasizing about it.
Yeah. I think that's key. I mean, I think that's the whole point is like, just try. He's better than you. And like, he cares about the people more than you care about him. And just moving into it, we weren't experts and then go and doing it. We every time we would debrief and just be like, what was that? What happened here? That was wild.
Yeah. But like, there's the difference between the people that will do it and the people that will like talk about wanting to do it. If like your reason is that no one has shown you how, then you wouldn't do it if 10 people would give you all their time. And I think that's like anything else in the body or in life as a musician. It's like, no, you can do it if you want to do it. And if you really are, oddly enough, people will show up in your life that you didn't have access or connection to. And here they are, and they have the next piece for you.
Yeah.
What do you think made you want to get into it?
Dude, because I had so many of them.
Like demons?
Yeah, I remember like 25 years old when I started changing my life. And I remember having a conversation with a guy after realizing that I only have like 1 or 2 voices in my head now. And for years I lived with like, there was probably 15 to 30 thoughts happening at the same time. Other guys back then, they called it, oh, you had like Grand Central Station brain. They knew about this. It's like there's just so much mental chatter happening. And there was just so many, like nobody was talking about it. It's like, well, I go to church now. I'm doing these things. Why are all these areas of my life still like, why don't I even have a choice over my behaviors? And it was just one of the pieces of, this is why I'm passionate about it. Because I remember after having a profound deliverance experience where all of a sudden I feel differently. I'd never heard anybody talk about it in church. I had traveled the world and would meet with pastors and be like, oh man, you don't have a demon, you have the Holy Spirit. Your problem is this. And when I finally had some deliverance, lo and behold, this stuff that has plagued me for a very long time is no longer in charge. So I got real curious. Like, well, if you got that one out, what else do we got going on? It was there and I responded to it. What is it? Isaiah says, here am I, send me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he just heard a call. The call was like, yo, who's down? And he was like, oh, I am, send me. Okay, you're in. I feel like it was kind of like that. Like the first time I ever cast a demon out of somebody, I had done a small workbook about it. I'd finished the workbook that week. And this dude was suicidal. And he called me. He was like, man, I'm going to kill myself. I've been driving around for 2 hours trying to pick which bridge I drive off of. I was like, well, you could do that. Or like maybe just like not and come see me. So he came to this small group I had. And dude, it's funny. I even talked about giving the waitress the name the daughter Anna. Because he had said that he had gotten his girlfriend pregnant and She had had 2 rounds of saline administered in the abortion.
Oh, man.
They had done round 1. And after round 1 was over, she decided she wanted to keep the baby. So our small group was praying that the baby would live. He texted that Sunday that like the baby did not live. Saturday was the day he was out driving. Monday was our small group. He comes Monday. He's telling the story. Everybody's praying for him. He had just said a prayer to become a Christian and follow Jesus like 2 or 3 weeks before. So we're sitting there and he's telling this story, and all of a sudden like that little imagination's like daughter named Anna. And it's like, that was wrong on the waitress. It was wrong at the guy at the tire store. It was wrong at the 3 people at Walmart. Like, Lord, let that one lie. And it's like, hey man, does the name Anna mean anything to you? And dude loses it. And he kind of comes up for air, is wiping snot off his nose. He's like, man, me and my girlfriend were talking, and like, that's the name we decided we would name her. And I'm just like, what now, God? And that was really cool because like he started describing a dream he'd had. And like in my imagination, like my daydreaming, I had already seen the kitchen. And as he's describing it, I was like, oh, and the window was here. There was something on the stove right here. The kitchen, like the refrigerator was back here. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like describing his dream to him. And
All right, so hang on for a second. I want to break that apart. So you were having like your mind's eye as he was starting to tell you, you were already seeing a place in your imagination.
Imagination, I don't like this mind's eye thing. Cat, I think we need to cast a spirit of mind's eye out of Grant.
Your mind's eye?
In my normal,
You've never heard of your mind's
in my
eye?
normal regular imagination.
Not your third eye.
In my Christian imagination.
That's great.
Oh my gosh.
Can you guys stay online after this and get the mind's eye out of me?
We will. We'll stop the recording and we'll cut that.
We'll double
out.
down on it.
Cut that.
Yeah, like as he's saying it, it's like just like a daydream of like, imagine you're at the beach.
Not in your mind's
like,
eye, but just in your imagination.
In my normal imagination.
Okay, gotcha.
In my Christian thought life.
What was the grayscale?
Dude, this was like 100%.
Oh, okay.
What does that mean?
We're not even going to tell you. Yeah, that's a...
later, next episode.
What?
It's an inside joke.
Stop.
Inside joke.
Sorry, guys. It was 100% grayscale, dude. And
You guys can't do inside jokes on here. No more inside jokes. I'm cutting inside jokes out. I'm leaving this in so everybody knows you're not allowed to tell anymore.
All right, we're done.
Okay.
So it's 100% grayscale in my normal Christian thought life.
No mind's eye.
No mind's eye. And it's just, I see like what he had been dreaming. So he gets, and he's like, so like odd. How do you know this? And he was like, and my daughter walked in and she was like a toddler at this point. And he's telling me like he had this encounter with her. And that she had said, and it's the same thing I was seeing. It's like she was saying, like, it's not your fault. She appeared to him in his dream. He's facing this direction, like the way he's seeing it. But I'm seeing it from the other. And Jesus, like, put her down, and she walked to him. And I was like, oh, bro, turn around. In his, no, he could have had a mind's eye. In that, he turns around, and he's like, he starts crying heavily. And I was like, what do you see? And he's like, I see Jesus.
Wow.
And then it's like, and what's he doing? He's like, well, now he's holding her. And I was like, no, what are they saying? And he walked him through, and I didn't know what that was called then.
Right.
Now I would know that it's called like your inner healing or healing of a memory.
Right.
And I don't even know that I'd gotten that far in the workbook. But like this was just kind of like
in the workbook.
You just did page 1, week 1.
I was just going for it. Anyway, like we have this profound encounter, and this small group, we were all trying to be super prophetic and like pray for healing, and none of us were great at it. But what we could do is we would go to this tavern after the small group was over, because they had like the best sandwiches and the best pimento cheese dip. And we would tip the wait staff 100% of our bill. And we would try and practice on them. And we never got it right. But they
didn't care.
They didn't care, because like they called us the ginger beer guys, because we'd all drink these like sodas. But they'd like set a table up for us. Like they loved when we came in.
That's awesome.
Because we were gonna eat like $150, $200 worth of food and then like tip it. Anyway, everybody else leaves to go get the table, and it's just me and this guy. He's like, hey man, I just don't feel right. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I just don't feel like myself. And then all of a sudden, I didn't even have language for this, but like somehow I just knew this dude's got a demon. And it's like, I did the workbook. I'm ready to go.
That's so amazing.
So I don't know what I even said. I was just like, spirit, unclean spirit, something like that. And he starts to kind of what I would now say is manifesting. Wow. Like his eyes are closed in prayer, and all of a sudden I see like a lot of twitching and shaking. And here's the odd part. Like there's guys who know this guy. Even now I'm still in relationship with him. He comes to my hunting retreats. Back then his shoulders were like always forward. He kind of had like a hunchback. He was super skinny, and it's almost like his chest was caved in. Maybe 110 pounds, small guy. And he's shaking, and like, I'm like, oh man, this is really happening. And then I remember having the thought of, there's nobody here. What if he has like demon strength and picks me up by my throat? And it was like, well, I read on like in the last part of this workbook, it said you just can't be scared. So, and I wrote I did
that
the
really
workbook.
stuck with you.
Like,
that
sure.
stuck with you throughout all of your experiences. You really go with that.
Yeah, I was like, well, the workbook said. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going to be scared. And then it's like, I'm getting scared. What if this guy, it's like, I can't be getting scared. Workbook said, don't get scared. And then like at the moment where I'm starting to get really freaked out, but I'm poker facing like, you know, you can't scare me. The loudest sound, like wind came through. The loudest sound. It just sounded like a bowling ball being dropped into a metal dumpster. Clanging. Like, I don't know what it was. And all of a sudden it was like the cold chills you get when like the worship song you like is being played. That thing hit every hair on my body, like stood up for like a split second. Simultaneous with this guy going like, and all of a sudden his chest is out and his shoulders are back. And he just like exhales and he says, dude, I feel like me.
Wow.
So he didn't gurgle and vomit.
So you just said unclean spirit. You didn't have any specific.
I didn't know
language.
anything.
You
That
weren't
was
like
a
spirit
very-
of death or spirit
Well,
of
see, this
suicide,
was-
because that's what my brain went to, because he was going to drive off a bridge or something.
Right, but I didn't have
didn't know.
that workbook.
Yeah, that workbook didn't.
You weren't there
specify.
yet. That was module 2.
No, this was very, it was like a 60-page workbook here. But that was like the first one I ever did.
Is his shoulder still back? Is he still
Yeah,
back?
bro's like normal. He's great.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, there's been a lot of moments with him since and other things, but that was the very first one I ever did. So after that one, it was like, man, you just can't be scared. I've had people like threaten to kill me, threaten to hit me. Like the dude who came that one time, he was like, kept wanting to hit me. I was like, bro, you're not going to hit me. He's like, I just want to hit you right now. And it's like, but you're not.
Yeah. That happens so often.
Yeah, because like in the spirit, like you're not. And then in the natural, like you shouldn't.
Right.
Another one that sticks out, and this one isn't like crazy powerful deliverance story. The part that sticks out to me is like, oh my God, is this as awkward for me as it is for you guys?
Well, we've made our unofficial motto authenticity and awkwardness. So we've talked about that.
We try to
many
get as
times.
awkward as possible.
Awkward and authentic is very important here on Everyday Exorcist. So this is a great story.
The reason that I have a cloth covering my mug is this the only mug I have in here right now. My coffee's in it. And I realized it has just some
Inside joke things.
Yeah.
I told you no.
Not appropriate.
No more
Not
inside
appropriate.
jokes. Nothing vulgar.
But that is why it's covered. It's just like there's someone's face on it, and it's not like a good picture of their face. May or may not be
You're
Grant.
being very respectful of the other.
Yes.
You're being very thoughtful
Right.
of the other person.
Thank you.
But I'm not ditching my
So much
coffee.
respect. It's
No.
not an inside joke.
Right.
Not an inside joke.
So we were doing this family I'd been ministering to, and like it took a long time to get them to a place where they trust me. And then some things happened with their son where like he was getting out of Vanderbilt psych ward after a suicide attempt. At which point it's like, all right, guys, here's what I really believe. So we're having a meet at the church. And it was like such a weird setup where it was me, Grant, and then another friend of ours, Josh. And Josh was trying to learn more about the deliverance thing at the time. We
Was that
had, like-
Silverberg? Was Silverberg there?
Yeah.
I forgot about that. He'll be on later.
And it was because he was wanting to learn more about deliverance. He'd been doing a lot of healing. And
Right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
well, he was just there to learn. I had these words of knowledge from my friends. We meet. The whole family sitting there, dad, mom, son,
Oof, that was a weird
teenage son. We're trying to get ready to let go, and I've got my words of knowledge. And Grant had that that Malachi verse. It's like,
one.
man,
Hearts
I
of the
just feel
Fathers,
like we're supposed to start with this. Well, before we get going, like, Josh, do you have anything? And Josh starts, well, I had this word. And then as he's given this word, the dad and the son look at each other and they just start crying. Dad starts crying. And I'm like, I guess that's a powerful word. So we get to like, all right, it's time to start. And I just look at this dad and I was like, hey, man, as the father, do you have anything that you need to come to the Lord on, like in front of your family?
I forgot about this. I pushed this out of my memory.
Dude gets on his knees, broken apart, crying, sobbing. And I'm like, oh man, he's just so like this father willing to do anything because his son has been hurting himself and just wanting to take spiritual responsibility. And he's just, you know, it's so sweet. Then he just starts naming affairs.
No.
Out of the blue, nobody knew it.
And his wife is just like,
oh, it was really bad.
And I'm looking at Grant like, what do we shut this down? Like, shut it down. 86. Like, what do you do? And he's like, whew. And he's saying, and some of them she's not having a reaction to. She's like, yep.
Yeah, she figured that one.
And then finally she was like, when?
Oh man, it was so weird.
I'm like, oh God. And the son's just sitting over there like, see what I'm dealing with? And that sticks out to me.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's quite the story.
I think it's like they get done with that. I was like, well, you guys have some stuff you
Yeah,
need
we were
to
like,
talk
why don't you
about.
guys go
Why
get
don't
some
y'all go
lunch?
outside and like we'll talk to your son.
Gosh. So the parents left?
The
Did you
parents
guys
left.
still pray for the son?
Yeah, he got super delivered.
He got delivered of a lot of stuff. He had a lot more stuff.
Yeah, he had a
probably
lot
still
more
does.
stuff. Yeah,
that's
right.
okay.
Ay. So practically, would you recommend not doing that?
Here's the thing. We prayed for this kid, and I don't know if it was like a spirit of suicide or self-harm or something, but as like we were praying and it was coming out, I started praying for the scars on his arm, and they started disappearing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You know, and I've told that story multiple times, and every time I tell it, people's scars disappear. And what's cool is that Ben can corroborate the story because he
Ben
was
doesn't
there.
even know
Everyone
that we've told
questions
this
me.
story. Everybody does
And,
question you.
yeah, they think it's a lie. And then when
No,
I
it
tell the
wasn't a
story,
lie.
the scars disappear in the room when I tell it. Just as now a telling of this thing, I forgot that it was prefaced by all of that stuff, though.
Wow.
Oh, no, it was
You
prefaced
did
by
repress
all that.
because I've never heard that part.
But
of the
here's
story.
the interesting part about why I felt like, man, I'm going to invite Josh. Like, he needs to learn. Like, let's get him here. They had been listening to this record.
That's right.
And it had been like ministering to them in this season. And they didn't know that
It was
Josh
Josh's
was
record.
Josh.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Josh's record. Josh was invited to come pray over this worship night. So the intro to the worship record was Josh
His
praying.
prayer.
And when he started like speaking, they recognized, like, because he's got a unique
Look to
voice.
each other.
Voice.
They recognized that's him.
Wow.
So this music and they felt like God was setting them up for success.
No wonder that man bared his soul. He was like, the Lord sees me. I'm going to
Oh,
tell you
sure.
every detail.
Well, and
So-
I think to your credit, Ben, and just I think I'd like to we're at an hour, so I'd like to talk a little bit more about this maybe again at some point. But the thing I so love about Ben is you're still in relationship with them. I mean, this was pre-COVID. I mean, this was what? I mean,
It was COVID-y.
was it COVID?
Yeah, it was COVID-y.
Okay.
5 years.
And so, but you're still in relationship with them and see them often and know the status of, like, they're married still, they're working on it, they're growing. And that's the thing I love so much about Ben is that, like, he sticks with people and he's not just interested in this flashy story. He's nitty gritty in their lives. And, like, to me, it's such a testament of the need for discipleship along with this and how much you spend time walking with people through all of this. That's one of my favorite things about you is because we know a lot of people that go around and try to do this stuff, but it's pretty rare that people that try and actually, like, be in people's lives and stick with them and develop real relationships. And I just think it's such a fun thing to see because I know that now, like, the last time we talked, you brought them up about, like, they came with you on a trip. I mean, it's just such a really cool thing.
We've talked a lot about that whole discipleship aspect of deliverance because, traveling deliverance minister that kind of, casts it out and leaves. And people are left without any community. And there's a different kind of approach where I feel that there is a more holistic healing that happens when you stay in community and discipleship connections with others.
We know that Mary loved Jesus. We know that she had 7 demons cast out of her. I started to ask the questions like, was it all 7 at once? Was it 1 demon per quarter for a few years? Did 4 come out at one time and 3 came out at another? And those questions aren't answered. And I think that was where I was really like, okay, so if the dude in Mark, who was like in the temple, a good Jew, if he was screeching and demons were coming out of him, then like what demons were inside the apostles who weren't good Jews? They were like mid-Jews. We don't know a lot of that. And it's like in the 3 years of walking with Jesus, like what stuff did he get into with them? A lot of his public deliverances seem to do more than one thing. They seem to be like important, like strategic. The Gadarene demoniac. Well, he, eventually came back and fed thousands of people there who listened to him because of this one deliverance. Yeah, I mean, it's like it was opening the door for like other things to happen. It wasn't just happenstance. A lot of the other stuff, it's like, we don't know the story, but like, did Matthew have some? How about Andrew? I think in my experience, like in traveling around and doing different conferences and being at different places, it's like, how many times do I need to cast this demon out of you? Didn't I pray for you last time? Like, didn't you get free? Why are you here again? How come you are not praying for this person? Don't you guys know each other? Didn't you listen? And that part started to really, dude, I don't want to be the deliverance guy. Like, that's annoying to me. No, you should go to somebody else. Like, I'm not gifted at this. If you're down, you're down. But I can't be the deliverance guy. I'm not doing a deliverance ministry. And I think that there's some stuff in my life that roots of my problems. Man, it's actually not a demon. It's emotional brokenness. It's actually a lie that the enemy told me when I was young. And then the rest of my life was built on it. And that's not a demon that's coming out. That's someone who's willing to walk with me for a long time. So I think there's so many other layers. I think demonology and deliverance ministry is just like a trending thing right now. And I think, man, if I really go in the deep end of like, you want to know what I know about deliverance? Like, and I'd start telling you some crazy stories, I think people will like, oh, I'm in. And if it's like, hey, man, I'm also going to talk about the sufferings of Jesus and choosing forgiveness rather than justice, I'll be there. No one else will be. And I think that's the thing. It's like in the ministry of Jesus, like in the Mark 16-17 thing where you're saying it was a requirement for all Christians, like these are the signs of like that follow those who believe in me. Or before that, he's saying like, preach this stuff everywhere, and those who believe will be saved. These are the signs that follow those who believe. So he's saying like, as a believer, the ones who are saved, these are the things that should follow them around. It's just one of them. There's so many other things, and I don't think that deliverance should actually be done outside of relationship.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you become a target or you become a case study. I think that the way that we functioned is sometimes it has to be because no one else is doing it. But man, you get broken people who open up and like pour themselves out to someone, and they're the first person who's ever listened to them, who's ever cared to ask. And then they're like dependent on that person. And man, I mean, I don't skip shoulder day, but like that's a lot of weight on the shoulders.
That's great. Well, my iPad is about to die. And
That's
so I
your
thought
problem. You said 4 hours.
maybe we can go to a question.
Sure.
While she's
5%. It's 5%.
while she's finding a question, the funniest one.
Tell one more.
We were praying for food allergies, and this kid had some food allergies, and he was like belching as I'm commanding this spirit behind the food allergies to come out. And the belches got worse to where like people around are starting to smell. And then the belches went south rather than north.
Oh, no.
And then the kid looks at me. He's like, he's trying to be respectful. He's like, is it okay if I go to the bathroom right now? I was like, would you please? And he had to run to the bathroom. But he came back. He's like, I'm healed.
I'm healed.
I was like, did it come out? He's like, oh, it came out.
Whoa.
So I have another inside joke between like friends of mine where it's like, dude, I'll pray for your deliverance, but I'm commanding down and out, not up and out.
Oh my goodness.
You get in some really bizarre scenarios when you start
And you
entering
don't,
into this space. You
not
don't try
to be insensitive to anything, but it's like there is some fun in it too. It's like it's not threatening. I'm not threatened by this stuff.
Yeah.
I probably have some demons right now that I'm unaware of.
Yeah.
The point
3
isn't to be
at least.
demon free, right? 4. If there's 3, there's 4. If there's 4, there's more.
There's 5.
That's not the point. Like,
Yeah.
the point is like, do you see Jesus? Are you following him? When you see him, you become like him. So is the way he sees you, are you looking at him and are you becoming like that? Or are you looking at these things in you and you're becoming like that? So try and keep it in perspective.
That's great.
Good. We really like to, I mean, I personally think a lot of these like exorcism and deliverance ministries take it so seriously. And I know it's an important thing, but that's one of the things that I like on our podcast personally, if I could just pat myself on the back just a little bit, is we like to have fun. We're like talking about it with joy and walking in these things with joy.
I have a Catholic priest friend who's crazy prophetic. He's amazing. We've done stuff together. And he tells me I've never done an exorcism.
He tells you.
Yeah. Now, he says you have done a lot of deliverances, but it doesn't sound like you've done an exorcism.
Wow.
And he would say, like, you're welcome to do deliverance, but I'd be careful about exorcisms.
What's
And
the
he
difference?
doesn't. He would say the difference is one is when your soul is actually not owned by the Lord.
Interesting.
So like an unbeliever,
Not just an unbeliever, but like a defiant, like,
satanic
Like somebody
person.
that's like,
I have seen this and I decide not. Where like you're actually arguing over the property rights.
wow.
He was like, all believers, even in his sect of Catholicism, all believers should be able to do deliverance on each other.
Hey, that's
He's
cool.
like, but if you get into the idea of an actual exorcism, you should probably be a priest and you should be authorized. Or it's just like,
Interesting.
interesting.
yeah.
But
don't know.
I've never done that. I've never.
Can you get
actually-
authorized like on the internet? Can the
we
internet like it?
Do you,
I've got a pastor friend who'll take 7 years to authorize you.
oh,
Buzzing. That
that's
was an
another
inside
inside joke. I told you.
Right.
But now you're authorized.
Okay. Do we want to do a question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pick a weird one.
Pick a weird one. Okay. All right. This one's a little long, but it's actually really fascinating. So here we go. This is a Tiffany. This is a
Ooh.
question. This is a
Oh.
question.
You got to do another
No,
one now.
cut that,
Sorry,
cut that.
Tiffany.
No, we're allowed to say their name.
Sorry, Tiffany. Sorry, Tiffany from Ackworth, Georgia.
Tiffany from Toronto.
It's always from. It has to be a rhyming city. So Tiffany from Toulouse. Toulouse. Is Toulouse a place?
I don't think so.
That's not how I rhyme.
That's not how you rhyme.
Tiffany from Toulouse. It rhymes, right?
Oh my gosh. Okay, Tiffany
2%. I'm at
has
2%.
2%. Grant, what in the
What to do? I don't know what to do.
crap? Okay, all right. Tiffany,
I would say charge it.
next time charge it, or just do you want to run and get a charger? Surely you're at the church. There's like a million chargers there.
Okay,
we could just
all right,
pause
just-
and I'll
No,
pause.
I'll just talk. We don't need you.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Ben, tell us some stories about things.
Tell us another story, Ben, and then we'll come back to the question. I'll just
Let me
cut all
wait till
that.
Grant leaves and then I'll tell a good story about him.
Please go get a charger.
Perfect.
Check the sound booth. He can't hear me. He took his headphones off. Okay, Ben. What other stories do you have? If you want to share another. If you can't think of a story, too, I can just ask you a question.
You can ask me a question, but there's always like stories. It's
Okay.
just some
I
of the
love a good
stuff is
story.
like we've talked about how long it is, like a 3 to 4 hour. Like if we're doing a prayer session for someone, I need to schedule 3 to 4 hours. The first 2 to 2.5 are me convincing you that the Bible's real. And I'm saying it shortly, but like we're asking all the questions, we're getting the information, even though we already know what we're doing here. It's usually you arguing or not feeling like this scripture means what it is, and you shouldn't be experiencing what you're experiencing because you disagree with the scripture. So for that reason, it takes it a long time. And when we actually start to do the deliverance, it's like we've got to go in and you're actually a lot of prayer. Meanwhile, I was at and this is another guy, I actually saw him last week. He is a pastor. He's amazing. It was one of those things where I'm doing a conference and I would look around like, Lord, who am I supposed to pray for? And like this dude had like dreads down to his knees. And then it's like, you're supposed to pray for him. I was like, Lord, I think you're confused. You've confused me with someone else. I'm not praying for him. And it's like, oh no, you're going to pray for him. End of the night, we're doing this prayer line. He's not in my line. I was like, see, Lord, I told you. My line is like getting down to the last person. All of a sudden he's in my line.
Oh, my
And
word.
it was like, he comes up and we are talking and he's like, man, I'm a pastor. And I was like, oh, wow. He's like, I'm a pastor and I was wanting to get prayer and I was in that line over there. And they told me the reason that we weren't getting breakthrough is because I have all these tattoos. And I was like, brother, just let me apologize. That person's an actual idiot. That is not why you're not getting breakthrough. And on behalf of this ministry that is here, I apologize that someone said that to you. That is disrespectful, and it's just not how we roll. And he's like, well, what do you think about it? And I was like, dude, I think whatever I think about it is stupid opinions, and it doesn't even matter. You should ask the Lord what he thinks about it. That should be the only thing that matters. And like, I kind of felt like this dude's already like a sensitive, like listens to the Spirit kind of guy. So I said that to him. We get into like what the word of knowledge was for, which prompted him to come to the line. And I had to ask him, I'm sitting there sweating, like, how do I ask this question? Which there's been several times, and I got way better about it, where rather than feeling awkward, I'm just going to ask you the most awkward question anyone could ask you. And if it's to a woman, I'm never doing it alone. Like, there needs to be one or two other people there, like, hey, I didn't do anything hanky. Like, I just asked this question.
That's wisdom.
Where, man, some of the stuff I have to ask is really bad. And that was to him that day. And I remember his answer to me was, I actually can't remember a time in my childhood where I didn't have sex with my mom.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So it was like that type of... So that's the kind of stuff we were going after.
I leave for 2 minutes.
Wait till Grant leaves to share.
I leave
that
for
one.
2 minutes. And
Yeah, I didn't want his input on
this
this.
is where we're going.
We don't need him on this. You know, we prayed for some stuff and he had some breakthrough and he was like, man, I just feel like there's some more. And I was like, there is too. It just doesn't feel like now's the time. So this dude actually like stayed on me and he would like, and I liked him. So I actually gave him a way to contact me. Cause like, dude, I actually like you. Like we should be friends.
Yeah.
He was like, dude, can you pray for me? I think I'm ready. This was like months later. He's like, I'll drive down to your house, whatever you need. And I was like, dude, I'll actually be in this town for this period of time. Why don't you come to this thing? And like, this was like one of those crazy conferences where I had to pray for a brain dead child. It was crazy stuff. And we're getting to the last day and I still haven't had time because these mornings are going like 2, 3 a.m. Starts the next day at 8. And it's the last day. It's over. The dude that I was with had already flown out. And I'm like, there's still people waiting for prayer. And like, someone's having a major dumpster fire in their life. Can you pray for them next? He's like, yeah, I'll just watch. And I'm tired. We get to the end. He's like, brother, let's just do it another time. I know you're tired. I was like, no, dude, we're doing it now. So we sit down. Funny enough, the father from the story that we were just talking about, who said too much, he was there he wanted to learn now. And I remember telling him like, dude, you do not close your eyes when we're praying. This isn't about you feeling the Spirit. Like, keep your eyes open. We're there to minister to them. Like, if power hits the room, chill. It's not for you. It's for them. And I remember talking through this pastor, and it's like, hey, man, so last time we met, he was like, brother, the Lord showed me this and this and this and this and this. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. It's like, so you're ready? He's like, totally. 8 minutes, 13 different spirits left him.
Wow.
I didn't have to raise my voice. It was as simple as like, okay, spirit of this, spirit of this, now this spirit. I had a word of knowledge that just said chest piece. So I was like, hey man, do you have a chest piece? And he's like, oh yeah. And he opened it and he's like, this is just black ink. And it was like a crucifix and the Jesus had no face.
Oh.
And I was like, what is that? And he was like, well, I was ministering. This guy was a tattoo artist. And I was like, oh, okay. Spirit of the no-face Jesus, come out of him. Vomited all over this Sunday school room at this church. And I think that's like, and we look over and the guy that we were like, when we're done, there's vomit everywhere. We look over and this dude just like getting
The guy
rocked
that
by
you
the-
told not to.
Yeah. And like, he was incapacitated. We had to wait on him to come like, get out of it, dude. But this dude, it was like maybe less than 8 minutes. But like all these demons just like there was no, it just happened so easy, like a layup. Like all I had to do was, I didn't even have to say it. It was like spirit of, and then it's just happening.
Do you think there's anything to the fact that there was like an atmosphere already in place where you had been praying and worshiping?
No.
You don't think so? You think
No.
it was just a grace or it was just what
Nope.
happened in the moment? Okay.
He was fully surrendered.
He was ready. Oh, wow. Well,
There
'cause
was no
months
fight
in between.
in him.
And he was just like, oh, there's, yeah.
He had done all the repenting at home. He had,
Okay. This is a recurring theme with Grant. Oh, jeez.
all right. So that spirit of witchcraft,
spirit of the evil iPad.
Spirit of drama queen.
Okay. Grant's
I think that's the
iPad,
thing.
for regular listeners, will understand what's happening. He's got the thumbs up, and this time there was also fireworks. Maybe it's because it's Benjamin's birthday.
It's Benjamin's
It's
birthday.
Benjamin's
It is my
birthday. It's the
birthday.
fireworks for Benjamin's birthday.
For your birthday, we let you come on this podcast.
Yes. Ta-da!
How gracious.
So gracious.
I think that's the thing. Like, he was just fully surrendered.
Mm.
And I think when you're fully surrendered, there's no need to convince you what scripture says. You're all in. Like, you believe what Jesus says.
Mm.
It's that easy.
Yeah, that's interesting that he was saying while you were gone, Grant, that like the first couple hours is usually trying to just convince people that the Bible is real. Like in a deliverance, it takes time, but like you said, with this particular guy, it was like there was no convincing. He was already surrendered, and it was easy.
Easy.
That's really
Those are
cool.
the best. That's what we want.
Do you want to put your headphones back on?
I can't because it's charging.
It's one hole for both. Oh, I see.
On an iPad.
Let's get you a nice like
'Cause you
like
need
a
some
little
Apple.
camera or something, or some upgrades.
You need some AirPods.
That's okay. That's all right. We'll forgive you and your possessed iPad. It might be possessed.
That's not Diamonds and I. We actually don't use possess. That was a reinterpretation of the King James Version.
Right.
The Greek is demonized.
Oh, okay.
Demonized.
The demonized.
Diamonds and I.
That's a little tip for free. A little extra there.
All right.
It's a birthday
Tiffany from Tiffany with the Epiphany. What is your
Tiffany
question?
Ooh.
with the Epiphany.
Hi, Kat and Grant. This is Tiffany. The reason why I am reaching out is to find out if a demon can enter into somebody who is in the process of dying. My dad had an experience in the hospital recently where he was coding, and it was before the code happened, actually minutes before. And he was thrashing, hitting, kicking. The nurse was trying to get his blood pressure, and he was not himself. And he looked at me when I tried to calm him down and said, I told him I loved him. I tried to orient him. And he said, I don't love you. And then in a different type of face and voice than his typical person, he said, I'm going to get you when I die. At that moment, I had a terrible visceral reaction. He started coding. The trauma team came, and I literally almost passed out from that experience. I guess to let you know, he is a walking miracle now. He came back from it all, but prayer was over that situation. Advocacy was over that situation. And it's because of God and the goodness of God that he is alive. And he proclaims that now too as well. But I just wondered, is there anything that I need to do with regarding that situation? Because it still is bothering me that I felt like there was another entity that had either taken him over at that point in time or had maybe is in him that needs to come out. So that's my question. Thank you.
That's a really good question. My personal experience with fathers is scripture says I'm supposed to honor them, not get all their demons out. And I've had to make sure that like I can honor my dad and not just try and free him. I think also it would not serve a demon any point to enter a dying body as much as maybe leave one that was dying. So I think there could have been something that's maybe dormant or less obvious. And in those moments of coding, it was like, I need to find a different place to live, a different place to express my personality. Because a demon can't do anything without being in a human. It gets the pleasure out of the human doing it. So maybe that was a deliverance moment rather than a demonizing moment. I think if Father is alive now, then I don't know that I would put any real energy and effort into figuring out if they're demonized or not. I think a lot of times the Lord will just show me what I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to relate to people. And if something comes up, then there's a thing to do about it. And if not, stop looking for it.
That's good. What do you think, Grant?
Yeah, I think if anything, and if we were working and praying for you, I would pray for you in that scenario of the memory of what you experienced, of what you encountered. Very traumatic, and the enemy was trying to steal any kind of good thoughts that you had about your father. He was trying to steal any kind of any peace that may have been there. And so I think if I was with you, I would focus on you and on what this maybe the fear that this caused you, focus on dealing with that traumatic moment and making sure that fear, that visceral fear, didn't take root in you, because that would be how he would work, would be to try and, take that moment to incite fear in you. So that's where I would mostly be praying for. I agree with Benjamin. It certainly wasn't your father. A lot of times when people are weak physically, or because of sickness or illness, or even like mental things, or even dehydration, a lot of times the manifestations can come up. I've seen that a lot, where they're not able to kind of block with their own conscience as easily, and so it's kind of an easy manifestation. So, could there be something in your dad? Maybe, but like Benjamin said, there's probably stuff on us too. And right now, as we're saying this, right, and so I don't think the invitation would be for you to try and figure out how to free your dad. It sounds like he's alive. Let's celebrate. Let's go, but probably to work on making sure to dislodge that fear that was trying to get in from you.
Yeah, the trauma, do the inner healing for you. That's exactly what I was thinking. And I like your perspective, Benjamin, about what the Bible says about fathers and how we're supposed to honor them. And it sounds like you're a wonderful daughter and care deeply for your dad. And I would just continue to pray over him and to make sure that your own heart feels good after that, because that sounds very traumatizing. Yeah, I agree with both of you on that. So.
And I'd like to say, Tiffany, that was a lie of the enemy. And so if and when your father, we all are going to pass at some point, if and when your father does pass, that's not a promise that you have to worry about. That's not something that's a lie. And that's something that the enemy has tried to use to cause you dread and fear and worry. And so I just break that lie in Jesus' name off of you right now, if you're listening, because that is absolute false. And it's just a trick of the enemy to rob your peace and even rob this moment that you now have with your father. Instead of being able to really cherish and enjoy it, there might be something in the back. There would be, for me, something in the back of my mind going, "Uh-oh, what happens if?" And that is absolutely a falsehood of the enemy that he's trying to do. So we just break that off of you in Jesus' name.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of times they'll say stuff like that to get me to be worried or afraid, and then that worry or fear is the door that they want to enter into. And it's best to just let Jesus answer the door. And it's like, okay, so when my actual dad passes, there may be some things that thinks it has an access to my family. Come knock on my door. I know who's going to answer it. Like,
I like that picture.
Yeah, and like that's just the visual of like when a demon is kicked out, it leaves, it goes to the waterless place. Then it comes back and it finds that the house has been swept clean. So it goes to try and find 7 of its friends more evil than itself. And man, if Jesus is the one answering the door, like good luck getting in. Mm-hmm. Like, sorry, dude, I got new tenants in this house.
Thanks, Tiffany. Benjamin, thank you for joining us today. I keep that Three's Company theme song, "Come and Knock on My Door," is in my head right now. Right?
Well, we were just talking about doors, and there's 3 of us.
Oh,
it's
my
the first
God.
time there's been 3 people
Catherine
on Everyday Exorcist.
Ben, Three's Company too.
This has been super fun. I've really enjoyed the conversation and the stories and the practical. I'm telling you,
it won't do it.
It's demonized. It doesn't do it when you want it to. It does it when you don't.
While you were gone, we shut the door of your mind's eye. You have no power. We did.
We just
anymore.
went ahead and sealed that up.
I thought I felt something.
Something left. You feel lighter. Cough a few times in the hallway while you're getting your
charger.
I
threw up 4 times.
You threw up.
Trying to find my charger. It's weird.
That wasn't us, dude. We were praying. We were praying down and out.
Well, I did some of that. I didn't want to say it online.
Oh, wow. That was a lot. Okay, guys, this was a great conversation. Just thanks for listening, all of you who listened and hung all the way to the end. If you want to ask a question, go to everydayexorcist.com and you can scroll to the bottom of the homepage and submit a recording for us to answer one of your questions on a future episode. And Benjamin, thank you so much for being our first guest here today. It's just been an honor and great fun.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy birthday, dude. Love you.